Riley, in the Miller Time segment tonight, let's bring in the king of clarity. He's in Chicago tonight. We've moved Miller up one night to accommodate the D-man schedule because that's the kind of folks we are here. Anything we can do for Miller, we'll do. All right. Let's start with the Fort Hood situation. Are you seeing any glaring problems that, as far as reaction to what happened?
Yeah, this is the worst I've ever felt about this. I think for the first time, I can see a way how good can lose to evil. Now, after Mogadishu, bin Laden said we were the weak horse. I think it's even worse than that, Bill. I think it might be to the point where we're the blindered horse. And if we're not even going to concede who the enemy is here, I mean, you got a guy going out the door with Allahu Akbar, and we're trying to glean it. Allahu Akbar is to insane radical Islamic fundamentalists as Miami Beach audiences are the greatest audiences in the world was to Gleason. We know what that means, and we best wise up, or we're going to lose this thing.
Okay, now the counter to that is Alan Colmes, President Obama, other people who say, yeah, we all know what this is, but to inflame it puts good Muslim Americans in danger, and we don't want to do that. That's the counter to it. You say what?
I say that I feel it's condescending to always concede that there are many more good Islamic Americans than there are bad. Yeah, of course it is. I can't stop my life down every 2 seconds to concede that. All I know is this: send us a signal from in there. We need an Islamic Serpico. Somebody's got to come out and rat the bad guys, because we can't sit in. We don't fit in well there. We look like Ralph Reed jamming with the Wu-Tang Clan. We need somebody in there to tell us who they are. And until they do that, do I think they're all bad people? No. But do I think they're being a little sheepish to the point where they're getting good people blown up by not relaying information? Yeah, I'm not inflaming anybody.
Okay, but in this case,
be more inflamed.
you know, I agree that Muslim Americans, if they see this kind of behavior, should report it. But they knew Hassan. They had him on the tap. They knew he was trying to get in touch with a big-time Al-Qaeda in Yemen. They knew all of it, and they ignored it, Dennis. So it wasn't like the information wasn't there. The information was there.
Billy, you know why. You want to go in and say the Islamic guy's a little off his feet? Of course not. They'll hit you with a PC hammer.
I would
too.
Yeah, I mean, if the Islamic, look, if there's an Islamic guy at Fox and he's running around going, you know, we ought to behead the infidels, he's going to have a problem here. He might not have a problem at NBC News, but he's going to have a problem here.
If you ask the guy in the next cubby to borrow his stapler, and he says, "Here, great Satan," you got to flag that to H&R. Now, I know it's not the most egregious workplace crime. I know saying to some woman, "Your hair looks nice today," or somebody having a Washington Redskin helmet phone on their desk is a lot worse. But somebody's got to send up signal flares when the guy next to him starts chanting.
Absolutely.
It's time to go into human resources at that point.
You've got to, look, we have to protect each other here. We don't get paranoid about it, but we have to protect each other. All right, now, Miller, I hate to break this to you, but your take-home pay, which is substantial, is now down 10% because the pinheads in Sacramento in California just decided to withhold more money from your check because they're bankrupt. And you say what?
Well, I say, I don't know, you want to be the person leading that tax revolt, because guess where you'll end up? Gitmo. After they let out all the real loonies, they'll send you down there. The simple fact is, Bill, I agree with you. I think we're reaching a tipping point. I mean, the next thing is going to be the set the clocks back tax. I'm surprised they didn't hit me with that last week. But all I know is this: they're pushing it a little too far.
Yeah.
And I'm asking you. I think there's a new French Revolution coming. I think they're going to use laser guillotines, and maybe you and I should get some seed money in there and fund that, baby.
Well, if they think the Tea Parties were rowdy, and the Tea Parties served a purpose to bring to the attention of the American people that not everybody was going along with Obamacare and the program and the big government spending. But now you're talking about men and women working very hard. They have take-home pay. They budget the take-home pay for food, for rent, for gas, to take their kids to the movies, and 10% of their take-home pay disappears because pinheads can't manage the money, give it away, are corrupt, don't watch it, And I'm telling, Stossel doesn't seem to get it. I'm hearing it and I'm feeling it in New York State, which can't pay its bills now, that this is starting to get people really angry because it's in their own wheelhouse. It's where they live. And if the federal government goes bankrupt, which is entirely possible if Nancy Pelosi's vision passes, you're going to have a real revolution. Nancy's going to wind up in the Boston Harbor. You know what I'm talking about?
Billy, I'll say this. Over the weekend here in Chicago, there was a football game between the Bears. And one of the first plays, Tommy Harris for the Bears gets kicked out because he sucker punches a guy. I'm talking to Brian Urlacher on my radio show today. I go, why would Harris do that? And he said something that made sense to me. He said the guy pushed Tommy's button, and you couldn't talk him out of it at that point. It was more important in football. It was man-to-man stuff. And I'm telling you, they're going to push the taxpayer's button at some point. Do I think it's going to get violent? No. But do I think that they're so broke that if everybody says we're not sending it, come get us, can they come after you? No, they don't have any money. It's getting to that point. They best use their head about this stuff. They're sitting on a boiling insurrection.
Right, I think people have had it with this. All right, finally, and I feel badly about picking on Barney Fag. He comes on the program, he takes what I give him, so we respect him in that regard. But he's got a boyfriend, and the boyfriend has a pot beef in Maine. Okay, so a reporter catches up with Barney to ask Barney about the boyfriend's pot beef. Roll the tape.
You know, you're pushing a bill to legalize medical marijuana, so you really didn't recognize it when you saw it?
Right. I'm offended by the question because you're suggesting that you don't believe me. I don't think there's any
I'm just
basis
asking you
for
to
that.
clarify.
No, but you're asking me in a tone of voice and suggest you don't believe me. There's no basis for that. I've been very open about this. I am not a great outdoorsman. I do not smoke marijuana myself. I have never smoked marijuana. I don't know what the plants look like. I couldn't identify most plants.
See, the problem was that Barney's boyfriend was growing this stuff in the back of the house, and I believe Barney. I don't think Barney had a clue what this guy was doing. What do you say?
All I know is I remember a day when gay guys wore cool shirts. What are those shirts about, for God's sakes? They look like they're on the Dinty-Moore can or something.
No, that's LL Bean stuff.
Shirts.
Come on, that's LL Bean Maine stuff. That's what that's all about.
Listen, Barney, I must say, I disagree with him on everything. I think this financial crisis, he was the blasting cap on it. But I can't say I don't find him funny because, you know, you can tell that he's a smart guy who likes to get his freak on, that takes him down some weird alleys, and watching him explain his way out, I have to admit, is funny to me. I will say things have come full circle, though, because I remember when he was running his male prostitution service with his boyfriend out of his apartment. Oh, I remember even back then, Bill, if you called in, the way you differentiated the code to tell whether you were dominant or submissive was Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So everything comes full circle, Bill.
Dennis Miller, everybody. In a moment, the Great American News Quiz.